or they may have let that go. But at least you would know that last year they were pulled for speech, or last year they were pulled for OT. Okay? The other thing is parent communication. And so with that, of course, we're talking about parents who like a lot of information, it's just good to know, or parents who like that overview, what the best way was, or how you found communicating with that parent helped in the past.
And even, just other green flags and red flags regarding the parents, right? She loves to be in the classroom, always happy to help, or, heads up, they're newly divorced, and this could pose something new for this child. So parent communication, and and if the family's great, you can skip over that if there's 0 things that you would need to pass on. We don't have to talk about every single one of these bullets for every child, because again, our short little window to talk, and really just work on pulling out the value of those really, really, really important nuggets.
One of the things that you're going to find is that on our Veracross system, we have a student success folder, and that too will be another place after this event. You'll be able to go back and reference to see if there are any things you need to know, such as the allergies, but also too things like hearing or sight. Knowing that you sat a student closer to you or closer to the board because they were having some challenges in the area. Any physical things you'd want to bring that up during this time as well.
So as teachers, we form these connections with these kids. Some of them, we can say we truly love them and we're sad to see them go. Some of them, keeping it in this room, you might be happy to pass that child on to the next year's teacher. We just want to remind you that this is someone's child. So when you're talking about these kids in whatever, area they fall, picture their parent sitting in that circle with you. So do we want to be factual and truthful and helpful to next year's teacher? Yes. And this is still the most important little pumpkin or big child when you're talking about them, even in this, closed and very, very, very confidential circle that we will be sitting in soon. So just remembering that once we get into this process.
One of the suggestions is that you create within your group a Kotlo, someone to keep track of that time, because again, because we have so much history with our students and so many little nuances we can tell about each child, that time goes by so quickly. And you just want to make sure you're covering your bases for anything the teachers do need to know. So Kotlo can time you and just politely say, okay, now we need to move on to the next child. Because after all, you're going to have a whole class and then multiple classes that you'll be talking about.
So great big picture with some details. Now the logistics, right? There's a lot of moving parts that happen here. So you're a teacher who's receiving children into your class, and you're a teacher who's passing kids on to the next year's teachers. And new teachers, we get that you are without passing any kids on, but we still would like you to join the process, and you'll see how it looks in just a minute. So there are 2 rounds. And we have it plotted out. I'm going to pull it up here in a minute. So one of the rounds, you're going to be receiving information about the children who are coming to your class or your grade level. That whole rotation happens for the whole entire school. Then we pause. We kind of come back together. Vicki and I will make announcements again about round 2, where whatever you did the first round, you'll do opposite. So if you shared the first time, you'll receive, and vice versa. Our awesome admissions and office team has class rosters for us. So I think the way it ends up is like if I teach 1st and 2nd grade, I think I get, do I get all 1st and 2nd graders? Yeah. So you might have to you might have some kids in there that maybe you don't teach, but it's just it's like the child's name and then there's a note-taking space. So they have that prepared for us. So that's super helpful. So let's talk about these rounds and what they're going to look like. Actually, I'm going to pause putting the rounds up, and I just want to revisit what Vicki just shared. She mentioned the student success form. So last year's Corbett teachers, you know about this form and folder in case you need a reminder, and for all new teachers. So if I'm in Veracross and I choose my homeroom class or the class that you know that child is in, if you pick a child and you click on them, this is a great way to access this student success folder that would include their student success document and any other reports. Do they have some sort of evaluation. They all live in here. So when if you click on an individual child and you go to emergency, so it's not an emergency yet, it lives in the emergency folder. And here is the student success folder. So when I open this for little Reese in here, sorry, I'm learning my new trackpad. So here is her student success form from 2 years ago. Here's her student success form from last year. And here was additional things that were put in here either by her teacher or by student success or whomever.
The beautiful thing about this is that you'll get to see the times that teachers met with that parent and a brief synopsis of what was discussed and maybe how parents received it or what the next course of action was for that student. So like at the last conference, if they said they were going to get tutoring over the summer, that would be something for you to know and that you could check back in on.
Child already has an established IEP, that would be in here, or a Corbett student success plan, those would be in here. We do just ask that you do this following the empty nest. We're going to be without our devices, unless you've typed up notes for yourself, last year's teachers, but this is kind of a great follow-up. We're getting this great little snapshot. Then when I have my notes and I have some, lots of additional time, I can dive into each kid's student success folder. Okay, so how is it going to look? This is how it's going to look. That's really weird. I'm going to fix this for you in a little bit, but so really tiny. So here's round one. So round one is going to happen first, and you're going to know that pre-K3 is going to pass their kids on to pre-K4. Kindergarten is going to pass on to first grade teachers.
Meaning they're going to share information to that upcoming grade.
Third grade is going to share with fourth grade teachers. Fifth grade is going to share with sixth grade teachers. Seventh grade is going to share with eighth grade teachers. And then admissions will talk to teachers of, which is also upper primary, we know the system, but teachers or admissions will talk with second grade and new students. So a little rewind. When you go into student success and you're looking at all of your kids, if they're new to Corbett Prep, they might be without information in there right now. The keeper of the admissions information is our admissions team. So we do try to work for them to get to each one of us to share folders and information about what they have, about new to Corbett Prep students. So they'll share those within our circles now. If we miss out on talking with them, we can catch up with them later on this week. And also, it'll eventually be in their student success folder. It just might not be there now.
So Sandy mentioned a circle. Once you decide once we let you know where the places will be, you'll drag chairs over, make a circle, make sure that everyone has access to the information by being in range of being able to hear. So again, make those circles tight, but enough space for everyone to have equal access to the middle.
Yeah, and let's do, when we say go and we're going to our circles, get there promptly. That way we make the circle and then it's different than having like 5 other teachers come after. So we'll wait till we feel like everyone's in their spot when we get started. So equal access to the center of the circle. There's going to be several big circles around this room. So we have to think about voices, right? Like if I'm talking to a big circle, I need a voice where they can hear me. I should be the only one talking because there's another circle here and there's another circle here. We want to respect that everyone in our circle can hear about each one of these kids and also know that everyone else is trying to do the same thing. So sometimes, we have lots of things to share about kids, which is great. Just keep that in mind that we have to respect everyone's speaking and listening. Inevitably, some groups are going to finish before others, right? Some numbers of kids are different. After this first round, if your team finishes, we've talked about all the kids, we've all made our notes, you are welcome to disperse back to your seat in this room. Really quiet. Because all these other groups are still going. Sometimes we finish and I'm like, oh, I'm going to go have my division meeting back at my table. That steals learning from other people. It just gets really tricky. So let's make sure that we're respecting, but we also need you in here, because whenever everyone's done with round 1 is when we move on to round 2. And we need you here to make that smooth.
I think that's about it.
Oh, thank you, parents. We have parents who are going to be talking about kids. We have teachers who are going to be talking and listening about kids, and our kids are in that mix, right? So I just happen to be a teacher who taught my own child next year. So last year. I taught my own child last year. So when it comes time for us to talk about sending Stella up to 3rd grade, I'm just going to politely remove myself from that discussion. Or if I'm a specials teacher and I hear, oh, they're getting ready to talk about, I'm trying to find Sam. So they're going to talk about Sam Wallen. You know, I'm going to politely remove myself. It just takes out any awkwardness or discomfort from that teacher who is lovingly sharing about your child, but we're just pretending the parents are there. We don't actually want them there. It just, I can get a little gray. So if you are in that situation where people are getting ready to talk about your child, just call a pause, pop out, and then somebody can wave you back when it's time.
And many times we're like, oh no, I can stay. I know my child. I can do that. We still ask that you please take that step back. Only because that just takes that pressure off, as Sammy said, of both the teacher and you as well.
Veteran friends, or yeah, what else did we need to talk about, or what questions do we have, Danielle? Yeah. Yeah, so, keep shutting out. What's happening in round 1 for, because it's 3rd grade to 4th grade, so you could go to admissions. You could get information about your new students. Or if you do all of that, then you get some solo quiet work time at your spot. Yeah. Okay, yes. So for us multi-age peeps, it does get a little tricky. So I think what we've done in the past is you start in one of the groups. Let's say it's 2nd to 3rd. You start with us. We do you guys first. We do all the all-star 3rd graders, and then you scooch and go to the 4th grade one, and you'll be the last part of that group. I do remember this getting a little tricky, but we've got it. Yeah, and I think we sometimes fall in that boat too. Other primary will make it work.
Mr. T?
Specials expectation, we talked a little bit about this, but a reminder. One of 2 things needs to happen, or actually kind of both. Where can you offer the most support and information? So those adopted classes are those classes where you might see something in specials that would be a great piece of information for the teachers. And then the flip side of that is making sure that we all get the information about who we're going to be seeing in our classes. So splitting up like App Lab is splitting up as much as possible, just any divisions that are larger so that we can get that full picture as well. So we have the entire school here, and we're going to gather these notes to disseminate amongst the group. So please make sure you take notes. You're like, oh, I know every kid. You still need to write notes for us, please, because someone else needs to know those kids, and we need the information. So, awesome.
Okay, so our rounds. We're going to get everybody locations. The note-taking sheets, I see some people with them. It looks like yeah, here we go. Okay, so for round 1, we have pre-K3 to pre-K4. Ladies are a tiny-ish group. Maybe you could come circle up right here. Okay, kindergarten to 1st. Maybe we could come up here. 3rd to 4th. Over here in this back corner. 5th to 6th. Maybe just back under that basketball hoop. 7th to 8th. Over by Mrs. Johnson. So we're taking our chairs, we're taking our clipboard and our note-taking sheet and our pencils. We're making a welcoming circle and squeezing in tight, and then as soon as we can, we're getting started. And someone's keeping time for 1 minute to 1.5 minutes per child. I can put up the list again.
Where are you going? Did you get yours? Yes.
I think I saw my own question. I think it's if people send stuff from Outlook, it only is hitting in my Outlook.
Yeah, that's why we're coming to the Friday.
Okay, all right. Okay, thanks. Because I've been trying to use Gmail.